Hello, Wasteland! Yes, welcome back, brothers! That's right, we're here to look at Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for November 2023. That's right, the Clown Car Month. Oh, yes. So, as always, I am your host, James Hall of JH Miniatures, and this episode has been kindly sponsored and brought to us by Marcin Zaharowitz over at Mad Cars Green Miniatures. Oh, yes, a long-standing, proud Polish sponsor of this competition. What can I say, my friends? You know Mad Cars, I know Mad Cars, we all love Mad Cars, and going into 2024, you can know that they've got some beautiful builds coming out that are just absolutely perfect for the upcoming Mad Max film. I mean, come on, they've done a motorcycle chariot. How many manufacturers out there have done that? Okay. Oh, what a wonderful sponsor, and always, as always, their prize support, their generosity just rains down from on high like a gift from the post-apocalyptic gods, my friends. Oh yes, we have prizes for first, second, and third place this month of $60 in gift vouchers for first, a $40 gift voucher for second, and of course a $20 gift voucher for third. So $120 worth of value, my friends. All for free, all for taking part in this beautiful community that we all know and love. So, as always, a massive thank you to Mad Cars Green Miniatures. Check out the link in the description box down below. Oh yes. And with a sponsor like this, you knew the theme had to be something different. It had to be something wild. It had to be something crazy. It had to be something a little bit silly. And that's right, Marcin wanted you all to build wonderful, beautiful, Wasteland-inspired clown cars, my friends. Oh yes. So we are talking giant circus cannons that can shoot clowns across the desert. We are talking giant acid or fire-spitting novelty flowers. We are talking sweet tooth-inspired builds. Oh yes. And what can we say, as someone who was one of the first to make a Sweet Tooth-inspired build at this scale, you should all know that I have a fine eye for detail when it comes to these kind of builds. Oh yes. So, as always, a massive thank you to Marcin for sponsoring this competition and picking the theme for this month. So, without any further ado, let us have a look at everyone who finished this month. We have had 27 finished entrants. 27! Not bad, considering that Christmas was just around the corner when this competition was underway. Oh, yes. So let's have a look from the top, boys. So, we have Adam Pollard, Aurelian Wood, Carlos Lopez, Daniel Mumford, Darren Mass, Dave Traves, David Bousset, Daz Phillips, Derek Green, Esme Grace, Fabian Wood, Hardo Pius, Ian Dankin, Ingvar Niebsen, Jason Dean, Jody Sims, John Simpson Wedge, Jorel Bessie, Kev Williams, Matt Morrill, returning heavyweight champion of this year, my friends. Oh yes, Matt Whittam, Pierre-Louise Ueder, Prince Eptoine, Richard Fairbrass, Richard Hubbard, Scott Howland, and that absolute wacky clown of the Armageddon, your friend and mine, William Burke. So let us start this month off strong, my friends, by having a look at the one, the only Aurelian Wood, and the absolutely magnificent flying machine that Aurelian has made for us this month. My goodness. One of the things that jumped out to me later on as I was going through the pictures is, so this is like an attack helicopter build, isn't it, for Gaslands? But the actual main central mechanism, it's all, I mean, it looks kind of 3D printed or maybe laser cut wood, but it's all clock components from some horrific, giant clown clock tower or something. Like, what on earth are all these cogs and gears and spinny bits and what can I say? It's a real abstract build that you've provided for us here today. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a Gaslands build. There's no doubt about it. There are repurposed, reused construction vehicle parts. I can see the front of a forklift truck that you've got a clown standing on. I can see bits of cars, bits of seat, of steering consoles, of all the wonderful bits and pieces that would make this thing believable, while at the same time it's a clown build, so it doesn't have to make perfect sense. It doesn't have to be 100% structurally engineeringly sound. This is a wild wild entry. But it's grounded. It's grounded in the thinnest veneer of realism. Like all of the clowns are kitted out for war, aren't they? They're wearing parachutes. They're wearing extra armor, extra military webbing with bullets and magazines and stuff in them. Like you've got one that's lay prone, holding a rifle that's probably shooting, some poor sod in the distance. Like it's a real funky build, isn't it? But that's kind of what we wanted to see. It's the clown month. It's the wacky fairground of chaos month. It's the, you know, everything's a joke until it blows up in your face kind of month. It's very fitting. I think what does it for me with this build is it's very structural, but is it very structurally sound? That's the big question. And as much as I love it, something tells me that little propeller on top and the little teeny tiny helicopter propeller at the back, they're not holding this thing in the air, my friend. They're too small. They're too small. It needs something. It needs like, a little jet engine or hover propulsion thing or something to better sell the illusion, I think. But honestly, mate, what a wild build, what a wicked build. I love how different aspects of this, the more you look at it, the more you see. Like you've got this, it almost looks like some kind of throw the ball into the tube fairground like game, right? But then that's been converted into some sort of little bomb dropper. So that yellow chute is actually holding little hand grenades that are or little bombs that are going to be lit and roll down and cause havoc on the race field. What can I say? Honestly, mate, love it. Absolutely love it. A wonderful attention to detail. I love all the little filly bits. We're going to see a lot this month of clowns, and it is nice to start us off with some clowns that look wasteland and military and they've got the crazy colours, but they've also got the practicality to it all. Love seeing you enter this competition, my friend, and I cannot wait to see what you come up with for December's Car of the Month competition. And then we have, of course, that dastardly scourge of the wasteland, of course, your friend and mine, David Traves' entry for this month. Oh, yes. Now, Dave, we got to talk, my friend. We got to talk. First things first, those rockets, I love them. But you gotta you gotta work a little bit on the execution. I get using paper for the fins at the back, but you gotta reinforce that with some super glue or something because they're just wibbly wobbly bits of paper, aren't they? They just stand out as a bit rough and a bit the idea's there, the heart, the spirit, the soul, it's all there, but the execution, oh, it just misses the mark. Maybe card, maybe a thin plastic card would work better for those little fins. Because honestly, the rockets, they fit the bill, they fit the theme. I kind of wish that the rest of the truck hit the theme because it's just a purple truck with some blue stars on it. That doesn't scream crazy clowns, now does it? Certainly, it has that wacky kind of fairground feel to it. Like this is not something you'd just see like pulling out of a BMW dealership. But, you know, in terms of crazy clown build, you could have had one guy with like a little red nose painted on. Like for the boys and girls watching at home, that is the easiest trick in the world. You want to make someone look like a clown, paint a white face on them and paint a little red nose where their nose is on the miniature. I know it's really hard, just a little dot. Like get a cocktail stick, dip the end in some red paint and just put that on the end, instantly create a clown, and it's not the hardest thing. But honestly, mate, it is great to see you keep coming back for more in this competition. I'd probably change the wheel ratio because this thing is scraping along the front, isn't it? One road bump, one one bit of off-roading, and that cab is just getting stuck in a ditch, isn't it? Maybe big wheels at the front, little wheels at the back. Change it up that way. Hmm. But no, fantastic stuff, Dave. Let's keep it coming, my friend. And then after Dave, we have, of course, that scourge of the seven salt seas. We have your friend and mine, Richard Fairbrass. And Richard, I've read your posts in the group. I get that this is a reference to Captain Slow and Top Gear, and that they are modern clowns, as it were, with the Grand Tours and Top Gear and all that. But mate, it was a clown themed month. We wanted to see a clown theme build. Okay, my friend? We wanted to see the clown. Send in the clowns. And this just doesn't have them, does it? It's a beautiful build. Like the paint job is wonderful. Once you start getting into the detail, like you painted on tartan, you painted on plaid, you painted on lettering, which is always really hard. You painted on like a little, I don't know what that is, like a pair of underpants or a blanket or a towel or something dangling out the window with little Santa's faces on and all this. That's really intricate work. I just wish that this was on theme. Because at the end of the day, I get where you're coming from, but we asked for clown cars, and this has got more in common with a police build just because it says the word Rozzers on it than it does a clown car. Come on, my friend, you're breaking my heart here because it's really nicely done. But we want clown cars, okay? We want to see big red noses and silly haircuts, and we want to see cream pies filled with acid, and we want to see, you know, we want to see squirty flowers filled with napalm. Like that is the dream, okay? That was the month. Really good work, but off mark, okay? Let's get it on theme. Like the conversion, everything, it's really good. But it's not to the theme. And I know you submitted like a small essay explaining it and it's abstract and all that, but come on, mate. No, that's not what this is about. It's about the clowns. Send in the clowns, which I think is perfectly represented this month by Adam Pollard's build. Oh, yes, boys and girls, have a look at this wild clown car of the apocalypse. And straight away, Adam, I love it. I love the body panels. I love the delineation and that you've picked them out with some watered down black paint to get the actual panel lines. I love the fact that it is two cars welded together and you can clearly see the weld lines. Mate, what a solid build. This is a contender, isn't it? All of the little characters, all the little people, you know, they read as clowns. They read as crazy, carny circus folk, even though they don't have red noses, even though they don't have like white face and you know, and all that kind of goofy stuff going on. This is unmistakably a clown car. I think where this kind of falls a little bit is in some areas of the execution, like the ladder that you've got. What a gag! And it's wonderful to see a scratch-built ladder, but it could be a little neater. You know, some of the rungs could be a little straighter. It could, you know, but you know, I'm not going to break your back over that. The welding, on the other hand, I am going to point out a little bit, Adam, because I know how hard a technique that is to pull off. But you need to, when you're using the modelling putty or the green stuff, you need to pull it more into the car body to the point where it actually runs flush with the surface, so that when you do paint along the bead, you can see that how it's actually joining the two surfaces together. This kind of looks like something that's been layered over the top, and it's a bit, it's a little bit. You can tell that it's modelling putty, and it's a bit of a shame. But honestly, for theme and hitting the target of this month, mate, what a solid entry. I love it, Adam. I absolutely love it. I love the ridiculously huge engine you've put in this beast. I love the fact that you can kind of believe it. You can kind of buy that this thing works, even though it might only have like a motorcycle engine inside and it's all just illusion. It's all just like fiberglass exterior and made of duct tape and rope and rubbish to to make it look bigger than it actually is. Honestly, mate, what a great build. I cannot wait to see what you've done for us for December's Car of the Month competition. Oh, yes. And then after Adam, I would be remiss. If we're talking about past winners, how can I not touch on the work of reigning heavyweight champion from this year so far, my brothers, Matt Whittam's entry. Oh, yes. And if we want clowns with big red noses, we are in the right place. Oh, yes. And honestly, this is a wonderful exercise in keeping it simple, keeping it on point, keeping it to that carnival fairground theme, without having to go over the top with the colour scheme, because the human cannonball is the oldest trick in the book, and I love it, and we so rarely see it done well in the Wasteland. It is really hard to pull off, and you haven't just made it, you've made it work as well, and that is an achievement in itself. Like, look at the video, the guy launches at the end. It is wonderful. I mean, the scratch built spoiler. You must have you've created a frame for this underneath to extend the cab and the truck base, like for the giant monster truck wheels at the back to hold all that recoil. And oh, honestly, I think where this kind of oh my goodness, like the flame pan effect, I love. Because I do that all by hand, and it is one of the hardest things. So I'm guessing maybe a little bit of masking, maybe a little bit of shaping some templates and gluing that on and peeling it off, and because that is crisp, that is beautiful work. I think where this falls down is the rust on the exhaust stacks and the rust on the spoiler structure scaffolding, the rust on the great big cow catcher at the front, because it's beautifully done, don't get me wrong, but it all looks the same. And unless this thing is made out of the same metal all over, you're going to have differences. Look how beautiful that cab stands out with its rusting kind of dusty effect, like the monster truck tires at the back, like the framework, and yet it falls apart a little when you look at those exhaust stacks, and it's just this. You could pick out, if you picked out the very tops of those exhaust stacks in silver and then gave them a dusting with black paint to show where like the smoke has been belching out, like this is a big heavy diesel tractor engine that's dragging this thing forwards, similar to how you've done with the air intake at the front, in all honesty, it would just take it to the next level, man, honestly. But as always, we have to try to find things to criticize you on. We have to work hard. We have to put a team of experts together to find things to go, well, you didn't paint the clown's other shoe on the cowcatcher fully, so -1 point. Like, honestly, mate, as always, heavyweight contender, absolutely smashing the competition as always. I can't wait to see what you do for December, honestly. And the Car of the Year video, you can guarantee it's going to be a bloodbath when we're talking about your builds. Oh, yes. And if we are talking about the Matt, how can I not talk about my boy, Matt Morrell's entry from this month? Oh, yes. And Matt's been going for a bit of a pink and yellow theme this month. I mean, the giant boxing glove is bright red, and I've got to say, I love the little clown skull faces with the little red noses. Like, what a lovely touch. Love them. The propulsion effect that you've been going for, this is a little hit and miss, isn't it? Because on the one hand, the effect works. You can identify this as a flying hover car, can't you? Right? There's no ambiguity. That's what it is. On the other hand, those little wispy grey bits, I don't like them. I don't like them. I wish they were like either not there or a flame effect, or because they're just too easy to read as cotton wool that's been painted over. For whatever reason, the beige in the background that's sort of covering the metal armature, that works fine. I think it's just those little propulsors, but they're such a key part of the build that you kind of got to get it right. I mean, the use of, I'm gonna guess it's polystyrene, like the packaging foam that you get for, like, when you buy a TV or whatever, like to paint those up as little tiny balloons. That is inspired. That is wonderfully inspired, my friend, and I'm stealing that 100% as an idea. Using what I can only guess is like a bit of plastic tube or a pen lid to do the little yellow and pink circles all over the build. Again, wonderful, wonderful technique. I'll be stealing that as well. And honestly, this is the thing that I love so much about this competition. It is the ingenuity that it brings out of people. It is the creativity. It is the spark, the talent that having a time constraint brings out. Like, I'll always say to you about your silver going, oh, you're just doing one layer and then washing it and calling it done. Yeah, I'm always going to point that out. I'm always going to say, do it better. Do it again, but better. But then again, you know, you look at some of the stuff you guys pull out of the bag and it's just, mwah, chef's kiss. Now, we have to address the elephant in the room, and there's two, to be fair. We've got two great big elephants. The first one is that boxing glove. I love the boxing glove. I don't like the G.I. Joe Cobra logo on it. It's a wonderful logo. What's the connection? What part of this competition, what part of Gaslands is G.I. Joe Cobra? Come on. Paint it over it, you know, bit of red paint. But it's sandpaper, just wear it off. You can guarantee that's just going to be solid red plastic all the way down. Same as the little teeny tiny seam line that runs around the glove. Because you look at the other side, and there's no issue at all. It's a giant boxing glove on a spring. How is that not hilarious as a ram? That works wonderfully. But that little Cobra logo doesn't fit. Doesn't fit. Don't like it. And, you know, I will say about the base, like, yeah, it's necessary for the build. It's a bit of a dioramic base, though, isn't it? I mean, it's, you know, not got a lot going on. There's just some broken bits of cars and some tyres and some dirt. But, you know, you might have been better off just leaving it plain because it kind of distracts from all this coolness going on up here by looking at this great big sort of cow pat down here. So, you know, simple plain base with some sand on, paint it to look like, you know, rough earth and away you go. It doesn't need to be this great big thing. You know, the only thing I can see is if the metal armature that's holding the car up, if that had to go into something to hold it in place, in which case, yeah, I get it. It's just keep it minimal. Okay, remember, unless we say dioramas are allowed, it's like, ooh. As always, the level I've come to expect from you, my brother. Oh, yes. And let us take a look now at the work of the one, the only John Simpson Wedge's entry for this month. Oh, yes, my brother. How could I not shine a light on this? Honestly, mate, you've been entering this competition for a long time, and this has got to be one of your best submissions, John. Like, this is up there. There are so many clowns in this build. And I know Colin was keeping an eye out specifically for just how many clowns to seat ratio a car or build would have, because it's like, well, clown cars are famous for being able to fit like 100 people in a Volkswagen Beetle. So, yeah, he was counting looking through these builds. And then we get to yours, and it's like, oh, yeah, there's like 3 guys up top, and then like 15 zombies or something insane in that little cow catch. Like, it's like one of those Normandy landing vehicles, isn't it? It's just this delivery system to just shoot out a load of zombies at unsuspecting passers-by. Honestly, mate, what a wonderful idea. What a wonderful execution. Because it works. This build works so hard. I love the fact that the doors open. I love the fact that the ramp looks like it could come down and all the zombies could start pouring out. And it does come down. You know, I love the level of attention and detail you've given to this. The fact that panels are different colours, but unlike a lot of builds that are sort of clown inspired, the colours are garish and overwhelming, and this is a rainbow, a smorgasbord of colours, but it doesn't hurt to look at. You know, this works. This is easy on the eye. You've got wonderful details, wonderful little smiley faces and shapes and symbols, and you painted clown on the license plate. And honestly, wonderful work this month, John. And as I said, honestly, one of the best builds you've ever done, my friend, because you've been knocking out some wonderful builds over the last few years, and this is up there. But if we are talking about wonderful builds, how can I not talk about the strange, esoteric madness almost gifted to us by Molinaro Dominique himself, if I was not mistaken? That's right, the work of Ingvar Niebsen, and the strange thoughts that it plants in our minds when you see the giant, luscious lips on the front of his truck that he's made. Ingvar, what on earth is going on with this build? Because this is up there as one of the strangest from this month. This is what we wanted to see. Let's be brutally honest, boys and girls. We wanted to see clown cars, and you have given us a clown car. Oh my goodness. It's a thing of beauty. Like, I mean, clearly it's very It inspired. It's you know, Pennywise in a car shape, which I wouldn't put past him as a character. It wouldn't be that hard to transform. The little insane clown posse you've got hanging out the back, they work really nicely. And again, guys, look, you see it's just a white-faced little blob of red on the nose. Job done. You've got a clown. The balloon is wonderfully done, and I know we've had some really good balloons this month, but this one's really up there. It's really nice and shiny and vibrant, and the armor plates at the back, mate, I get what you're going for, but you need a wash or something to separate those out, because they're a bit chalky and they're a bit connected, and it looks like just one big surface. It doesn't look like lots of little things laid over each other. Not as much as it could, make those shadows a bit deeper. But honestly, mate, none of us could have seen this coming, and you've done such a good job. You've done such a good job, Ingvar. Oh Lord, what have we created? What madness have we unleashed? Love it, absolutely love it, and just keep going, my friend. Keep pushing, because this is top-notch stuff. This is up there. And then finally, how could I miss him out? How could I just glaze over this wonderful champion? Of course, I'm talking about fellow member of the admin team. That's right, David Bousset's entry from this month. Oh, yes. And again, if we're talking about faces on cars, well, there's a very lovely goofy face on the front of this one, isn't there? With the with the giant buck teeth and big red nose, and there's a lot of detail that's gone into the nose. There's a lot of detail that's gone into all of this build. The boxing glove, the bowler hat at the back, the clowns are all so wonderfully unique and personalised. I think ultimately, David. I've said it before and I say it again. Once you've got December done, I cannot wait to see what having 12 of 12 cars that you've made will look like altogether, because it's a thing of beauty, my friend. I love how it looks like you've shortened the vehicle down, like you've got this wonderful seam line that goes down the door panels on either side of the driver and passenger, and how the roof's been chopped and it's all been squished together so the clowns have got even less space, but they're all still crowbarred in there beautifully. I've always said it, and I still say it. I want to see you use some recycled materials as scratch-built armor plating. But honestly, that boxing glove sort of rocket launcher, which you can imagine when that's tucked away, would just scare the bejesus out of the opposition for the longest time. To think, God, what's going to come out of there? Is it going to be like a cluster of missiles or a great big like energy cannon or something? And then it's just a big fist that comes out and bops the back of the car and knocks it into a ditch or something. Love it, absolutely love it. Wonderful work. I think it's always going to be last minute touch ups, isn't it? It's the bowler hat. It's got that band that goes around it. You could have just painted that like black or brown or something, and it would have just elevated it that next step. The blue of the body, I kind of want that to be brighter, because the orange and white of the front of the car works really well. They're really bright and vibrant, but then the blue's just really dark and subdued by comparison. But then again, look at everything else around it. Would that detract from the clowns and the wheels and the wonderful smiley faces? And maybe. But this is the thing. When your work level is up there, my friend, it is hard. It is hard to criticise you. What can I say? Fantastic stuff, my friend. And finally, my brothers, how could I not look at last minute entrant? So last minute he didn't even bother to email in until several days after the competition ended, but we managed to peer pressure him into it. That's right, we're talking about fellow admin member Darren Phillips' entry from this month. Oh yes. Come on, Darren, you know I had to talk about your build. Look at it, just look at it, look at the wonderful level of detail, look at the size of the clowns, look at their personality and character. Look at the insanity that is on screen before you right now. I mean, the car base is beautifully painted, absolutely beautifully painted. The clowns, I'm kind of scratching my head as to what scale they would be, because either the car is a normal Hot Wheels scale car, right? Are they like 28mm clowns? Because they do look bigger than, well, I mean, they are bigger than like normal Hot Wheels drivers. But then I also wonder, have you like narrowed the actual body of the car? Did you like cut it down the center and just, because it doesn't look that big to begin with, And then you add in these giant caricature clowns, and of course they're spilling out the sides with how big they are. And honestly, mate, what a brilliant build for this month. And to think you weren't going to submit it, and to think we weren't going to show it. I mean, come on, come on. This is a work of art, my friends. You do, you do us proud when you cross that finishing line, my friend. Honestly. It is a smaller car. Oh, I've just seen. Look at this photo on screen, right? I've just come across, this is, wow, he does his homework before he records. I've just come across this last photo, and it is genuinely a smaller Hot Wheels. It's not Micro Machine, is it? It's got to be something else. It's got to be like Majorette or something, because that is tiny. That is teeny tiny. So yeah, the clowns are actually correctly in scale, and you've actually painted the car so beautifully. I actually thought it was a full-size Hot Wheels car. Mate, what a contender. And you weren't going to submit this. Darren! Love it. Absolutely love it. As always, I can't wait to see what else you have in store for us, my friend. But finally, my brothers, it is time to announce the winners from this month's competition. So, without any further ado, that's right, the winner of Gaslands UK's Car of the Month competition for November 2023 is John Simpson Wedge. Yes, congratulations, my brother. Finally, after so long, you finally crossed that finishing line, my friend. Oh, yes, congratulations, John. Enjoy the $60 gift voucher on its way to you, my friend, because I think it goes without saying, this is the clowniest, the goofiest, the funniest, the craziest, the funkiest, the wildest, and the zaniest build that we have had this month. It ticks every button. It has so many clowns crammed into such a small space. And you extended that space as well, because this is a half-track design. And we never see clown cars done as half-tracks. We see them as ice cream trucks, and we see them as small cars, and we see them as war rigs, and we see everything else. But we've never seen a clown half-track. We have never seen a clown zombie delivery machine quite like this, John. And honestly, mate, what a fantastic entry. I mean, I've said it already, but I'll say it again. Beautifully executed. One of your best builds so far, without a shadow of a doubt. Mechanically, it just works. Like all the little things like cutting up the car body and shortening it, because that's something so many of us just miss, because we're so bamboozled looking at the rest of this. To point out the fact that, yeah, you've taken this car and you've chopped out a great big section of the middle where the engine would sit and just smushed it all together and raised it and lifted it and put it on a half-track base. And honestly, wonderful work, my friend. And all the zombie clowns, like what a wonderful combination, John. This is what we're talking about. Because who isn't a little afraid of a clown, especially one that's trying to eat your face off? Oh yes. Brilliant work, my friend. From the dirt on the windscreen to the wonderful lettering to those delightful little faces that have come to bite yours off. It is a thing of beauty. Congratulations, my brother, and welcome to the Hall of Fame for 2023. But it is not just John who has won this month. Oh, yes. In second place, we have the one, the only. I always struggle to pronounce his name, and honestly, I don't know why. Maybe it's something wrong with me. I don't. The one, the only, Pierre-Louis Urder and his insane clown posse ice cream truck. Well, it's a bit more of a flamethrower truck on wheels, isn't it? Honestly, Martin was blown away by the giant flower flamethrower turret, combined with all the wonderful little insane clown gang touches. The Jugger Krusty truck. Honestly, mate, You've done a fantastic job here. I like the fact that you've adapted a lot of commonly found bits as well. Like you've got the GW orc skull there on the front, but you've stuck a little bead on there. You've made it a clown skull. And I'll always appreciate that. I appreciate the little extra touches. I appreciate the hand painted lettering that's done in a variety of handwriting styles as well. I appreciate the fact that you've printed bits off. I appreciate the fact that it is beautifully painted. Honestly, congratulations, Pierre, and enjoy the $40 gift voucher on its way to you, my friend. And finally, in third place, what can I say? He was blown away, and so were we, by the work of the one, the only, Kev Williams and his trike build this month. What a wonderful take on everyone's favourite bone shaker. I don't think I've seen many where someone's changed the skull to be a clown face. That's a first. And as always, beautifully painted, wonderfully converted. Fantastic work, my friend, and enjoy the $20 gift voucher on its way to you. Yes, so thank you for watching, my brothers. As always, thank you to our sponsor this month, Marcin over at Mad Cars Green Miniatures. I know they've had some ups and downs with the web store recently, but check out the link down below. It is working and they are up and running and in business. At the same time, a massive thank you that goes to all the members of the admin team that make these videos possible. So myself, James Hall, Matt Reeve, Colin Harvard, Darren Phillips and David Bousset. Oh yes. And as always, if you fancy supporting these videos and the channel, why not check out Big Cartel and pick up some of the merch in the description box down below. And in the meantime, I will see you in December's Car of the Month competition, because we're almost there, brother. One more month and it's all over. Oh yes, thank you all for watching, Wastelanders, and I will see you in the next episode. Goodbye. Oh man, trying to do like a silly Mickey Mouse voice. Oh, what can I say? It's been an absolute wild ride of a month. You guys sure do know how to push the envelope and my buttons. You ever hear of photographing on a plain white background? It's not that hard, boys. Oh, right. So who we talking about?